Fanatec just released their new CSL Elite McLaren GT3 V2 model of the steering wheel, so let's see what this updated version brings to the table. Hi guys, Matthew here and welcome back again to my channel. Since I haven't tried its original brother, the new McLaren GT3 V2 wheel came in as a completely new experience for me, but don't worry, I made sure to go over everything in regards to what has changed or not. So without further ado, let's dig in. Right from the get-go, there's basically little to no difference in terms of the outer design, which doesn't come as a surprise as this is an actual full-scale replica of the real-life McLaren's GT3 wheel from the MP4-12C. It's officially licensed by the McLaren itself and made based on their CAD data for this wheel, so it needs to stay looking like this, just like the original. Since we are talking about official things, you'll again get that full support for the Xbox One and Xbox Series X, and there's even an Xbox button in the right bottom corner. Cute. The most noticeable visual change on the wheel is probably the fact that they've decided to use a honeycomb mesh structure for the multifunctional analog pedals, which makes them now more sturdy. Above them we have the up and down pedal gear rocker, and this is where we have one of the bigger technical changes. Its shifting mechanism is completely revised, now it has a longer throw and magnetic resistance, which gives it a better tactile feedback. It's the same bright orange color single piece of anodized aluminum, a very cool looking and of course functional add-on. The feel that this has is next to real life, certainly better than what can a classic consumer-based car with flappy pedals offer. Overall, the build quality of this wheel is up there with everything else that Fanatec made, while I generally speaking do like the original look of this wheel, before all how the carbon fiber shell looks like. Of course this one is not real carbon fiber, but this look-alike pattern still gives it that wow effect. Back to those analog pedals, I really like having them there. They can be used for a multitude of purposes, most commonly for setting up the dual clutch feature and better launch control of your non-manual driving cars, which is done by first pulling both of the pedals in and determining the grabbing point of the clutch with the left corner dial, pressing the acceleration pedal, releasing the right pedal and then the left pedal, and boom, you get a next to a perfect start. You can choose between different preset options by changing the position of that middle dial, or you can just set them up on your own at that last fourth D position, but most importantly, with the third C position, you'll get a setup of controls that could enable players with certain disabilities to be able to use these two pedals for accelerating and braking. Hanging a bit longer here on the back, some of you may remember how the previous version had a clamping style of installation with a bolt, where you had a special tool that you would tuck away here on the back and use it for tightening everything down. You can even see a glimpse of it here on the back, but it's now closed off in this version of the mold for this case shell. Now there's none of that, and we have a revised installation procedure, one seen and being a standard on their other wheels, simplified quick adapter with a thick plastic cup and a ring that locks everything tight onto the wheel hub just with using your hand. It's also easily removable just by undoing these screws around it, which I've actually done and swiftly replaced it with something even better, Fanatec's chunky and metal Club Sport quick release adapter. It was literally less than a 5-minute job, everything fits on like a glove, just be careful not to damage the pins. This will also unlock the high torque mode on the podium wheelbase, but even without that, if you're changing wheels often and have a lot of them, this is an extremely useful add-on. Moving to the front and taking a look at the switches, basically nothing has changed here, everything is where it was and how it was, before all a set of high quality buttons and multi-position dials, which can be programmed in-game. The N neutral and P parking switches have additional sort of raised up tube framing around them, so you don't press them accidentally, plus the switch itself is really hard to press, you definitely won't be misclicking it. But the show is stolen, in my opinion, by their funky switch, which has 7 different functions and which is by default used for navigating through games menus, especially when the wheel is hooked up to a console. In the middle of the rotary dials we still have a 1-inch big OLED screen, which shows your usual information as speed and gear, as well as enables you to enter the menu using this small switch, so you can make on-the-fly changes to one of your 5 wheel profiles. Oh yeah, since I'm talking about them, within the bundle you will also get a pretty broad set of additional switch covers for those round ones which are replaceable, and they actually already have some of the more common triggers and functions engraved onto them. Here is how all of those switches sound, including the gear shifting paddle. Since this is actually my first time using such a GT3 style wheel on a longer run, I was really interested in seeing how it feels and how it is to use it. Right off the bat, taking it into my hands, the massive rubber upholstery gives you a huge amount of grip without using any gloves. You can really sink your palms into it, and I reckon it would be pretty slippery with the gloves since it's a very smooth rubber in question. Overall, the feel is really solid. It's a massive steering wheel after all, and it weighs in around 1.3 kilos with the quick release adapter. The flex is minimal, while with 300mm of diameter it suits me good as I'm pretty familiar with that kind of wheel size. The rocker shifter is precise and tactile, you will get that indisputable feel that you made that gear shift. It also helps that it has a protruded surface texture on it for better grip. Everything else is easy to reach in terms of the frequently used switches, as they are right on the edge of the wheel. To sum it up shortly, is this wheel any good? Yes, it is, no doubt about it, and even more so now with everything that was improved, and for this price point, all of that was already in a way established with its predecessor. For most of you out there, it will be more of a question if your current racing setup needs it, so it can fulfill that specific purpose of a GT3 wheel, because users who are aiming to buy it will know exactly why they are getting it. Although I don't think that a lot of users will upgrade from the original Fanatec McLaren GT3 model, I do think that a lot of users who were maybe looking at it for a while will now have even more reasons to get it. That's it for this time from me. Thank you once again for watching. If you find this helpful, please take a second to toss me a thumbs up because that really helps a lot. And if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe, and if you already are, be sure to press that notification bell down below so you don't miss out on a new video. And until then, catch you later, guys.